Okay,
Very good morning.
Okay, so we are live. Go for it, Juliana.
Good morning. Okay, so here we go on the second part of why businesses fail. Today we have myself, Juliana Scheidhauer, and Dr. Milu, who's also a business coach, actually. And he, as you can see, has Vino and Vision. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, so my name is Milu Islam, and I am a business coach and founder of Vino and Vision here in St. Louis. Now we are over 20 plus states all over the country, and we also have some international locations. And we have coaches from all those states joined in, and they are also helping to make this world as a better place for all of us.
Very good. Okay, so we'll jump right in here and go just talk a little bit about the overview of what we did last week. So we're just doing the 10 failures. And this article that we're kind of basing this off of is from Forbes by Stephanie Burns. And the number one reason why businesses fail is there's no market need. So not really understanding the customer there. The second one was running out of cash. So maybe not having a good solid, budget or business plan, business financial plan. So really doubling down on those costs and estimates before you head into business is, very important. The third one is not the right team. So having a good team, makes all the difference. And, hiring the right people and also managing and leading them is very important. The fourth component was got outcompeted. So maybe competitors did a better job at their business or better marketing. Just maybe the market was even too saturated. Number 5 was price and cost issues. So I guess that's where we'll start today, is go through 5 through 10. The first one is pricing cost issues. So Dr. Milu, you probably have seen, some businesses who maybe outprice themselves or maybe even underprice themselves.
Yes. So one of the key initiative to follow there is making sure that you are above the break-even line. And break-even line is where you determine that all costs equal to all your income. So if your income equals to all your expenses related to your business, then you are equal to the break-even. Now, the moment you exceed the number, you are actually in the profitability zone. So your pricing should be focusing on profitability zone and the value you are adding to each of the client. So some of the people will come and ask for pricing that are sometimes higher. And the question will be, why it's so high, right? Because the value you provide for that higher price and your customer base changes over time, because you now have a much more higher price customer because they are the one focusing on your services and the value they're getting out of it. So yesterday we were discussing this topic on our Coffee with the Coach, and at the same time we focused on what is the value you providing. And if the value is worth of the cost, then the pricing should be following the value. Now, you cannot have a cheaper product and higher price because that product do not stand the test of time. And if it is not standing on the test of time, clients will not be able to pay you for that. So you have to focus on those. So quality of client and your value add come to the pricing, and you have to focus on your profitability zone, which is the line above the your break-even point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I think that's really important, as we see. But I think also, that has to do with understanding the market and the supply and demand, right? Like, you have that break-even point, but you also have like supply and demand. Like, And obviously there's ethical reasons when you go into like food or something like that. You can't obviously, you know, price it, inflate the price so much because it's necessary for people to have. Even if there is a shortage, it's probably not the most ethical thing to make someone pay $100 for a little bit of groceries. But I mean, there's also the supply and demand, like what supply is out there, what's the demand for it, and maybe it's valued more, if it's more precious or something that people want more and there's less of it out.
Yes,
So
supply demand is definitely a key issue there. Remember, supply and demand is also attached to the value. So the demand goes up because the value of the product or services is high, right? Because people are asking for it, looking for it. And quality products such as Apple's iPhone, as you are aware of that, is the value they provide, and people looking for it. Even they before they come out, people already put their order in. So it means supply and demand. As because of high demand, the supply is limited, so the price, of course, go up. But that's driven by the market. The value is you have to create the value to drive that market. Now, there is situational like weather changes or, COVID, for example, when the market shifts, right? Because of the high number of people are going out there, and toilet paper, for example, where people were just buying out all the toilet paper. And at that time, it was a market, I would say crazy market demand for toilet paper, and people were just going and buying anything and everything. So at that time, value is not concerned, but people just want it. So that's also want based demand. So that's outlier. It happens in a situation like that, especially when you have a natural disaster. People look for things that can increase the price of the product. For normal time, you will be focusing on value based pricing and also focusing on your profitability. You cannot have pricing that is below your break-even point, because you'll be losing money no matter what you're doing. So you have to find your break-even point and align it with your value add, and then base your price that way.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that we can go in depth with pricing, pricing strategies and all that kind of stuff. But essentially, you have the base of what the product is worth. For example, like chicken, like Chick-fil-A has chicken, Cane's has chicken, all the different ones have chicken at the different restaurants, but the value added is the service and the other things that you add on top of that. And so if you want to increase the price without increasing the product, then you have to, give more value, and that has to be through service. So I guess if you're seeing something in your prices, if you're not being able to, make your bills, or you feel like you need to up the price, and you have to add value, and that's through services. So maybe adding something, for your customers to want them to come back, to add more value to them.
Exactly.
The sixth point here is understanding users unfriendly products. So essentially, maybe it's hard for them to understand the product or use the products. Have you seen any examples of that?
Yes, when you have some complex product that come into the market, that's what you are referring to, and it's possibly some product that are so confusing that people stay away from that, right? So if you're like, we will give you a good example of good products like Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office product that people are very used to, right? And they love it. And at the same time, they're putting this over time, they're adding those updates and putting it out there. At the same time, if you have something that come up very confusing for people, they will not like it, because if you have time to figure it out, that will take out your, you have a attention span that is very limited. And in the marketing terms, you are familiar with that. that very limited attention span, you have to catch people's attention in a very quick time. And in that time frame, if you are putting out product or services that are confusing, people will be trying to figure it out what's going on. Now, there is also different thing about that, because if you need that specific product, if it is confusing and you want to invest your time to find it, there may be higher price value for that. So in the cheaper market, you can find people looking for easier to understand and lower pricing. As it get more complex and complex, the prices goes out. And if you, for example, if you have a sports car, for example, or a luxury car, Maserati or Lamborghini, as you know, those are limited in supply and those are very expensive cars. And people will be investing their time and to research on those. And when you have more time to research your product, even if they're not user friendly at the beginning, but when you do the research, you will know that some of those are very high quality product, but they have so many things built into it. So the easiest way to understand it is that if it is user friendly, you have a short attention span zone. Your pricing have to be attached to that. You cannot have a expensive product that trying to be making very user friendly. People will not pay attention to that because they will want to do research on that because it's high price. You will be friendly, but it's not unfriendly, because if you use the unfriendly totally, people will stay away from you. But it have to be user friendly, but it have to be time needed to research for that. Otherwise, it will not be a luxury good. People, when you go to buy a car, if you go to a luxury car dealership, they will be explaining all the detail about the car, and that provides you compared to some of the easy to get lower price zone where people will be just like the car and go buy it.
Yep. Yeah. So in this article, it really highlights the point where you want to make the user experience to be seamless and frictionless. So you're not having the customer go through a lot of hoops, or like having the customer do things themselves. Maybe they have to I don't know, like to be able to get a software or whatever, maybe they have to download this one thing and then upload another thing. You don't want them to have to go through a whole bunch of hoops to get through to get your service, right?
Mhm.
So making that as seamless as possible is the most effective thing to do for that, making it user friendly. I know for me, like if I have a package or something like that, I don't want it to be all tangled up and hard to get to. Like I bought it, it should be easy to take out, to use. I don't have to put things together. Like it's already put together for me. It's easy to use. So yeah, it's just important to understand it from the consumer point again, of what they're looking for, and for it to be quick and easy, right?
Yeah, example of that is like Amazon Prime, for example, right? So Amazon has its regular service, and then for the up price, they have the Amazon Prime, which is almost guaranteed the next day or 2-day delivery, whichever way they are doing it. And return is very simple on that. You can return it in UPS or any places. So they make it very user friendly, but the price is higher, right? So you have a value add with that. So your price goes up because you are adding different quality and different value. But it is, the user have to understand that. And user is willing to pay the additional price because they want to get the product quicker, right? And and some of them will buy the product and say, "Oh, I want it next day." It's need based also, because some people are pushed by deadline. Example is people who are getting married and they suddenly say, "Well, I need this, but my marriage is next week." What they do? They will jump in and they will buy it, and because Amazon Prime makes it very easy for them to have it the next day.
Right, right. Yeah. So all those big companies know how to really make their products user friendly. And so that's what small businesses really need to understand. Number 7 is products without a business model. So I guess a lot of companies don't have a business model and how to scale. So that is you need a clear path to growth and to your goals and objectives for your customers, for your team, and for investors. If you have investors, so understanding the whole goal and then how to get there is very important.
Make it easy and simple. That's what I always follow. Is the if your product model and business model is convoluted and very confusing. With all my clients, we do a strategy planning session. So we spend a lot of time creating the strategy, and we have a process we call slow down to speed up. Slow down means initially you need to slow down and spend and invest in your strategy. And the moment you have done your strategy, and we include your employees, we include your customers, whoever you want to include, we also call that a customer day, when we spend time with customers, half a day or all day. It depends upon the size of the customer they will be bringing in, or number of people will be attending those events. So strategy planning most of the time is all of the employees and including the owner of the company. So on a bigger scale, it's strategic planning can be divided into multiple segments, and it takes multiple days. But deciding what you want to do and how you're going to do and all those key things is in the strategic planning day. And we do that. And once you have done that, you create a business model that is simple. And when you get involved with multiple people, like I mentioned, all your employees are including owner, and all those people are key players. It depends upon the size of the company. You are involving people's thought, people's ideas from different level of the organization. And it's creating a complete comprehensive strategy, which is not driven by a top-down approach or even bottom-up approach. It's a collaborative approach of everybody involved in the company. And that creates a model that is very flexible, because you have a low-paid employee has a great idea that we never knew until they are in the meeting with us and talking and giving us the idea. On those strategy planning sessions, what we do, we also break them into teams. And by breaking them into teams, we even include managers and owners in the team. And we hand over the team leadership to somebody else beside the managers and the owners. So managers and owners play as a team player in the team of each of the table. And that makes them more acceptable to the idea that is coming from the team. And they can see the viewpoint of others in the company. So having a good business model, easy to understand business model, solves a lot of problems.
Yep. So now we're going to go on to number 8, because we have a limited amount of time here. Poor marketing. So that is definitely one I see in today's world of small businesses, poor marketing, or not even just poor marketing, just maybe a lack of understanding of marketing and its capabilities, and what they're communicating to its customers and to other people.
Yes. Well, poor marketing is always if you take that in a good sense of business, is if you're running a business, people need to understand what it is and what it does, right? So you need to present it in front of them, and any aspect of your life you have to present yourself so the audience can understand. So focusing on the audience, not focusing on your ideas or your message, but your message have to first know that this is for the audience. And when the audience understand the message is when they get it. I get to sit with different calls with different people in different states. And sometimes they come into the organization, how excited they are learning the model and all these things that we are doing. So not to focus on our organization, but to having that message already out there. And now we have so many social media, right? We have, like, for example, Zoom is doing this recording for us, and we are sending the message to the world, letting them know what we are doing here. So people are looking at this, and social media is a good way of communicating. There is no such, there is other way of communicating as well, as you know, email marketing and TV, radio, and all those other things. But social media is global, and social media have a different way of focusing. People have their own choices, and they make their own choices based on the marketing you present, and you reach out to audience that you will not be normally able to reach out. So make sure that your marketing is excellent and people are seeing that, and quality marketing, not something downgraded to a level that people and I see that all the time in the Facebook or LinkedIn. People are have a lot of low quality marketing. You
If
don't have all the time.
yeah, if you feel like your business, has the perfect product or the perfect service, you need to be able to communicate that to your customers of how you think your product will provide value for them, and also like strong branding provides value to the customer as well, and
Mhm.
then your company. So yeah, it's very important to have good marketing, and if you need to outsource that marketing planning strategy, whatever, so that you're able to create a brand that's valuable. And number 9 is ignoring customers. So it's super, as we've seen through this whole list here, it's important to understand your customers.
Mhm.
So that is a big reason why someone fails, I guess. So 14%.
Yes. Well, 14% of the businesses fail because of that reason. And as you mentioned, and we discussed that previously in our other sessions about customer-centric business model, right? If you do not understand your customer, you will never be able to market yourself. And that's the poor marketing there. So understanding the customer, knowing the customer, and then going customizing your message, focusing on the customer is very important. And if you do not understand the customer, you are trying to be fitting your organization or your product or services to anybody and everybody, then the global market is your market and every single person is your market. Then you have to customize your message that way. But if you have a focused marketing, you need to understand the customer, who is the direct customer for you, who will buy your product, who will buy your services, and who will be using them. And those are the people you need to focus, and you need to understand that a lot of bigger companies spend a lot of time and energy and money by learning the customer. And that's why when the product comes, it's so good because we love it and we are the customer they focused on. So smaller businesses should be following the same model, but they don't have to invest a lot of money, a lot of energy. There's so much research available online right now,
Or
or
even just talking to your customers.
even yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, the customer day is a good way of understanding your customer. Bring out a segment of your customer, work with a coach, have them do a customer day with you, and they will at the end of the day you will walk out with so much good data focusing on your actual customer, that once you walk out with that and you implement that in your company, that becomes a very a good way of running your company. And I do that all the time. On all of my business coaching clients have done customer day, and we do it once a year because customers constantly change, and those are fun days. And customer come in and there will be food, there will be maybe some drinks at the end of the day, but they also appreciate that the customer, they're engaging the customer to craft their strategy, and which is part of the strategy also.
Yep. And lastly, we have product mistiming. So maybe a product came in too early, or maybe a product came in too late, after competitors already got in there. So that's important. Again, understanding your customer, understanding the good time of when you can launch your product or when people may need your product. That's very important.
Yes, and the focus on this also rely on just in time. just-in-time product development, just-in-time software development, just-in-time customer focus strategy. All these come into play, because if you do not do that, you do not do the research. And last session we discussed about having a roadmap, technology roadmap, or a product roadmap, which you already focusing on what is in future. So for 5-year roadmap, you can see what is coming and who are the competition and all those key data that you compile. Even if you're a one-person business, you can do that yourself. Create a 5-year roadmap for you. And in that roadmap, you have the key ingredient that tells you that what is there, right? And you focus on building that way. And if you don't do that, then it will be a disservice to your organization, and that will create a lot of headache, because you will not have the product or marketing. So the timing is important on everything. That's why we have this common saying is the right time in right place and doing the right thing. And you always have to do the right thing. So timing is very important in that way as well.
Okay, yeah, very good. So that concludes our, our top 10 reasons why businesses fail. Do you have anything else that maybe some bonus ones that you've seen businesses fail? I know we need to wrap this up, but real quick, do you have any other
Definitely.
comments about that?
The comment here would be always be learning. Business owners need to have a desire and internal desire to grow. And that internal desire to grow is always be learning, because if you do not learn, you will not grow. You will be following the same model that was followed year after year, but there is nothing new to add. And then that will be the product mismatch, because something is new out there and you are not matching with that. Blockbuster have faced that, and many other companies fail because of the same reason. Is always be learning and be open to ideas from everybody in the organization. And that makes you, including outside the organization, like customers and vendors. And if you are open to that, you will have not only outcompeted other people, you also will be ahead of the game. And that can change your life and your business.
Very good. Yes, thank you so much for your time. Yeah, so go ahead if you want to check out more information about the article. It's on Forbes by Stephanie Burns. It's a great read. It's pretty quick and easy as well. So hope you guys all learned something today.
Well, thank you very much, Juliana, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.